Alright, welcome to the Halo 2 history. Today we're going to be going over Metropolis Legendary. Let's turn this music down a little. And let's just jump right into the first run. Alright, so you missed the first video, we covered Cairo Station, and the second one we're going to cover Metropolis. We're skipping over Outskirts for now. We'll come back to that one later. But I guess it's important to talk about where we came from for speedruns, and the very first run that we have comes from 2005. It is from Cody Miller, one of the founding members of the Halo speedrunning community, an infamous member, but we will be looking at this run. This is a legitimate speedrun. It is not cheated in any way, and it is the first world record we have. It was posted in... find the date here. January of 2005. Just a couple months after the game released. Let's run a timer here while it's going too. So, off the start of the run, you'll notice he quickly grabs the Warthog, and he's gonna wait for the Marines to get in. This run actually hasn't changed a whole lot since 2005, but the times dropped pretty significantly for a level that's mostly just driving in a straight line.
Enemy down. Okay, everyone be cool.
So here on Legendary, the Marines will help you out, getting the turret and the rocket guy. The rocket guy can be a bit of a detriment sometime if he blows you up with these rockets, but I think we'll see Cody avoiding those. Little bit of flub there at the start. He bonks a car. I mean, these small mistakes in the early runs are never big deals because these are the first world records ever posted, but you just see some slight mishaps in the Warthog driving already. He's also kind of swerving back and forth, left and right. In speedrunning, anytime you're not going in a straight line, you're losing time. So we're already just losing like half seconds here, half seconds there with all of the drifting back and forth, left to right. It's very small, it's subtle, like there. You can see it a little bit, but over the course of the 1.5 minute bridge that we just drove across, you can imagine changing directions a few times will lose you a few seconds.
Got it.
I actually haven't watched this video in years, so I don't even know what he does. I think he just drives on through though, doesn't he? Have we been doing this since the beginning of time? The Marines mostly stay in. Oh, he goes all the way to the left. I do remember this now. This is how I used to do it too. All the way to the left. Barely makes it up. His Marines stay alive long enough to draw some fire, and he barely squeaks through. Slams into the wall as he makes a hasty escape, but makes it to the loading zone at about 1 minute 50. I want to be keeping track of that a little bit. Oh, this is a weird path. Opts to go all the way around to the left here, instead of driving through the middle. I think he was scared of getting sniped and turreted, so he avoids the turret. A little bit of a detour here as well. Drives around to the right side of this wraith. Drives around to the right side of this waterfall.
There are a number of Marines trapped.
And he quickly approaches the wraiths and dips out and says, "No thank you, I do not want to fight these wraiths quite yet." He sneaks over and battle rifles the jackals. These jackals are notoriously devastating, so I don't blame him for taking these guys out. Gets dropped absolute one shot by the wraith. He's panicking. Manages to board the wraith without getting taken out. So you'll notice he first destroys the wraith and then adds grenades. That'll change a little bit later, so he loses a little bit of time there with that grenade board. And now he's taken out the other wraith. He got a lot of help from his allied Marines there, which made that second wraith die very quickly. That normally wouldn't happen without getting a little bit lucky. But he also took a very long time getting to this point, so the Marines had a ton of time to help. Takes out the Phantom and approaches the top of the Marine holdout. So he gets to the top of the Marine holdout at about 3:45. I think we were aware of the early Scarab board because I think he looks at the top of this little. Sorry, we're gonna scroll back a little bit on some of these runs, but he looks at this thing like he's considering jumping onto it. I can't remember when we first learned that you could jump on that, but we might have known about that all the way back in 2005 even. I'm not sure. He kind of gives a hint there that he might know. But we'll be seeing it show up in later runs for sure.
I don't think it's stopping. Get your heads down.
And now we wait. So this door won't open until the Scarab walks above the level.
Marines, time to kill us a Scarab.
And now here come the only requirements for the ending here are to take out the pilots on the Scarab. So you have to beat this level, you have to drive across the bridge, you have to spawn this Scarab, and then you have to board it and take out the pilots. And that's the entire mission of Metropolis. Let's see how he manages to take out the pilots here. Quick back smack on one of the elites. A grenade for some distraction and some damage. Takes out another of the elites. Actually, he leaves him alive. The elite betrays his teammate. Very fortunate. This is speed. It's speed. No BXVs, no button combos. This is the way the Lord intended the game to be played. Classic, casual, and that is Metropolis in 5 minutes and 27 seconds by Cody Miller back in 2005. So, I mean, that's a deathless legendary run. Less than 2 months after the game came out, or right about 2 months after the game came out. That's a pretty good time. All right, let's look at a little bit of the history of where these runs were submitted and stuff. We talked about this a little bit in the last run, but we'll revisit it. So, when we were submitting speedruns back in the day, this website is a little bit after 2005 here, but you can see High Speed Halo is where we were posting these runs. Each run that got posted got its own like news little blog, and so it was kind of rare for runs to get posted. It wasn't like hundreds of people were submitting runs all the time. Runs were rare enough that they would get their own little blog post. And after they got their blog post, they would be posted on the records table here. And you could see all the times. So you'll notice that there's even some blanks here. Not every, like I said, there weren't enough people to run all of these categories. We tracked all 4 difficulties, and we tracked single player and co-op. And so some of these runs just didn't have very competitive times. Especially some of the longer levels, like you'll see Gravemind doesn't really have anything for co-op on Legendary. Regret doesn't have anything on co-op. The Library doesn't. But this is where we used to track our leaderboards. And you can see the Metropolis time that's listed there is a 4:33. So that'll bring us in to our next run, which is a 4:33 by wait, did I not get the name right here? Matt Clarkson, in about an entire year later, at the end of the year. So the first run we saw was at the start of the year. We didn't see this run improved and posted on High Impact Halo. Wait, actually, there was a run in between. Sorry, let me pause this. There's a run that I'm missing that was posted 8 days before this by Knockyard, who was one of the owners of High Speed Halo at one time. Knockyard had a 508 that was uploaded in November of 2005, 8 days before this. And then Matt Clarkson came and beat that time with the 4:33 that we're going to watch here. So the 508 was the time before this, and now we're going to watch the 4:33 by Matt Clarkson. Let's go back and start the timer again. Get that going. Where did I put my timer? Also, a thing to notice is he's selecting the level from the main menu. This was a rule from back in the old days for requirements. You had to choose the level from the main menu and show the difficulty selection. We don't necessarily require that anymore because it's tedious to exit to the main menu every time, but these runs do that, and that's why. This is also recorded on a VHS tape. This VHS tape was mailed to Cody Miller and encoded and uploaded. That's how some of the submissions for runs were done back in 2005. This is a VHS recording of a speedrun. So the quality isn't great, but you'll notice one of the differences immediately is Matt chooses to not pick up any of the Marines. He is doing a little bit of zigzagging like we talked about, but that's to dodge the bullets because he doesn't have the Marine passengers. Man, the quality on this is spectacular, isn't it? At this point, he's driving in pretty straight lines, though. This is pretty good driving. He honks at the ghosts. That's funny. Doesn't actually do anything to make him dodge, but I like it.
That's quite a welcome party.
So we're already into December of 2005, more than a year after Halo has come out. Halo 2 has been out. Let's see how Matt decides to take on the tunnel section. A little bit of a bonk there. I can't see anything, but okay, he does go through the middle now. This is the more modern driving. He doesn't go around to the left and swing out real wide. He goes straight through the middle. While he splattered a few grunts in the middle, that gave enough time for reinforcements to spawn. He hits the load at about 140. That's already about 10 seconds faster than Cody was going. So just on driving alone, with skipping the Marines, more straightforward driving, he saved over 10 seconds. Also notice here at the courtyard, he's driven straight through the middle, and he's driving straight through the middle here too, even though he gets slowed by the ghost there. And nearly dies, maybe should die. Goes around to the left of the waterfall. This is looking quite a bit different for such a straightforward level already out of Matt.
There are a number of Marines trapped in that building.
And a quick Wraith board here. You'll notice he pops off the hatch and then throws in 2 grenades. Again, we'll talk about that later. And now he's taken out the other Wraith. Boosts into the Marine holdout, gets a checkpoint, takes the rocket launcher, takes the shotgun. So we've got a different set of weapons, and he gets up to the top at 305 compared to 345 that we saw in the previous run. He's about 40 seconds faster now. He saved 30 seconds in that last segment by more efficient driving and taking out the Wraiths quicker without having to go around to the side. And now you see a grenade jump here. Grenade jumping onto this little pillar and lining up for another grenade jump here.
I don't think it's stopping. Get your heads down.
Smooth grenade jump right onto the Scarab. Shoots the shotgun a couple times for joy because he made it. And just shooting off the turret too. That's funny. Oh, he's going to blow off the back turret as well. This actually loses time being at the back of the Scarab. The Scarab walks into the lake a little bit slower if you're not near the front. So now Matt is going to hide at the front of the Scarab and wait for enemies to spawn. If you watch the radar here, you can maybe make out some pixels that look red. They just spawned. The red pixels are the first wave of reinforcements. They all just spawned and ran up top. Now he spawns the pilots and starts rocketing the pilots. Enrages the sword elite. Shotguns both. Oh, he got a little bit lucky there dodging that sword. And there's a 433 by Matt Clarkson. That's honestly a really good run. I would be like relatively happy to get a 433 in my full game runs today. 20 years later, and the route isn't that much different, which is kind of surprising. Very impressive run here from 2005 from Matt.
Extract the
Alright, well,
The prophet is bugging out.
the next run we have to look at. So, this run by Matt Clarkson would stand for 1,979 days. One of the longest reigns, actually the longest reign ever on this level.
There's no
This is the longest single time a record would stand. We won't see this record fall until... Let me get the dates here. Until May of 2011. Here enters MisterMonopoli onto the scene. So I was aware of the route that Matt did at this time. I was trying to beat his time. I was attempting to take all of the legendary records at this time. In May of 2011, I swept the leaderboard and I took every legendary record. This was one of the early ones that I did. Or actually, maybe one of the middle ones. And so far off the start here, I've done basically exactly what Matt did, except drive a little bit straighter. A little bit smoother driving there, but otherwise this is the same route. Oh, I didn't transition that. Okay.
That's quite a welcome party.
We've got... Let's see, how's the driving here? I go around to the left of that red truck, a little bit of a wide line. What path do I take on the driving? Do I go far left or do I go through the middle? I go through the middle. I managed to get dropped one shot but stay alive. Decently smooth driving through there. And 139 we hit that load zone. Only about 1 second faster than Matt, but it is faster. Mostly saved by straighter driving on the first half. A much smoother section here. I didn't slow down because of a ghost flip. I kept a lot of my speed through that waterfall section. So probably another couple seconds saved.
Concentrate on the race. They're the biggest threat.
I also did not do the grenade board. We haven't seen the grenade board strat yet. Just a few punches and then 2 grenades. Take out the Wraith, take out the Phantom, and enter the Marine holdout. I choose to take rockets and shotgun. I'm fairly sure I was just straight up copying Matt's route, just trying to beat him on this run. I don't think I innovated anything here. I think this is just Matt's run, but done slightly better 2,000 days later. Matt Clarkson's run, again, it stood for 1,900 days, so between 2005 and 2011.
See this look? It's terror! Marine, did I give you permission to bitch? I don't think it's stopping. Get your heads down.
Grenade board onto the top. Managed to stay on. I immediately run downstairs, which is, again, slightly slower.
Time to kill off.
But I hide at the front, which actually, it might make it... This might be the same as standing on the front? No, it's not. So right now the Scarab is not walking yet. Now it just did its animation where it walks into the water. It's kind of hard to tell, but... The Scarab stood still for a very long time at the top of the platform there, and it did that because I'm standing in the wrong spot. You can't speed that up. So I also wait for the enemies to leave. I take a few steps back. I spawn in the pilots, and then I start shooting rockets. Shotgun, shotgun and hunt him down. So overall, this was basically the same run as we saw out of Matt Clarkson. Just slightly faster ending, slightly faster driving. Nothing really fancy. Alright, well, that run would then stand for another 5 years, and nobody would beat it, Cairo or Metro Legendary, until I came back in 2016. And now we're, hold on, let me pause this, let me resize some stuff, because we've moved out of the standard definition era, we're moving into HD. Let me resize some of this. We have entered the HD era. Alright, and now the next run we have to look at here is 414 by yours truly, MisterMonopoli. This run was set in January of 2016. Let's, I guess, go back to the start and start our timer here. Again, the start of the bridge driving is mostly the same here. We skip the Marines, we just drive in straight lines. I'm wondering where I saved 10 seconds, actually. I bet it's on the Marine, or on the Scarab walking off the platform and on the Wraith board. Those are gonna be the next changes we see. We've also entered the Xbox 360 era. You can tell I'm on the Xbox 360 because of the graphics. There's a slight graphical burn on the screen that happens when you play on certain versions on the Xbox 360. You can see that on the top middle. I just realized you guys probably can't hear this very well, can you? We can turn this up more. Okay. That should be a little bit louder for the game audio. Maybe not, hopefully not too loud. Okay, so we're now like another second faster out of the tunnel there. We've saved like 1 more second on driving. Surely I do the grenade board this time, right? Oh, I'm also on the Japanese version, you can hear. The Japanese version doesn't actually save any time on this level, but I do the grenade board here. So whenever I boarded the Wraith here, let's pause and go back and look for a second. So whenever I first board this Wraith, on the other ones I was first blowing off the hatch and then throwing a grenade. But if you do a button combo where you throw the grenade as you board, it's kind of subtle to see, but you can throw a grenade inside of the hatch before it's blown up. And so grenade blows up there, and then I throw another grenade here, and that gives a slightly faster Wraith clear. Oops, I reset the timer. I get some help from the Marines. So on this run, I think you're also gonna see some. Oh wait, I got an ultra elite survived on the Phantom and stayed alive. So I'm waiting, but I would have had to have waited anyway because there's a mechanic that happens on this level called Scarab deload, and even if I didn't have to wait at that door, I would have had to have waited a little bit later. I'm not sure in 2016 if I understood the mechanics of Scarab board yet though. So I think I probably got lucky that door didn't immediately open. The door at the bottom of that Marine holdout that I was waiting on, it only opens after the Phantom has been defeated, but if you get unlucky and there's Ultra Elites that spawn on that Phantom, when you blow it up, the Elites won't die. And so the Phantom doesn't count as defeated, and it'll fly away, and then you have to wait for the Phantom to completely disappear, and then that door will open. So you end up losing about 10 seconds waiting for the Phantom to go away. So now so now I'm standing on the front of the Scarab here. By standing on the front, it puts me far enough into the next area that it'll cause the Scarab to do its next animation, which is to immediately walk into the water here. On the previous run, I waited down low, and it took a long time. Now, I also wait at the back of the Scarab, and I immediately spawn these guys in instead of hiding. And a more efficient clear gives us a 4:14. That is 10 seconds saved off the previous record. Now let me pause this as we move into the next run. Where are you going? So the next run we have to look at is actually, we're missing a run. So the 4:14 that I set in 2016 would stand for another 200 days. And then in September of 2016, Criffin would beat it by 1 second with a 4:13. That run has been lost to the times, so we don't have it, but it was world record for 477 days. It stood for about a year and a half. The next record finally comes in 2018, so we're jumping ahead over 2 years now. We are in 2018 with a 4:11. Let's take a look at this. Right, let me go back and start the timer again. So the intro here is going to be about the same every time. You need to stay alive, so you can't necessarily drive in a perfectly straight line. We do hug the left side of the bridge, which is slightly a curved path from straight down the middle, but it lets you survive, and you'll notice we're now really driving in straight lines. We're not like zigzagging and curving. We're locking in. We're going the way we have to. Cutting some angles. You can't go perfectly down the middle because of like these debris, like the bus that's there in the middle. But this driving is definitely looking more optimal now that we're into the low 4 minutes. Oh, we can't hear this one, can we? Why can't? Oh, there it is. I go to the right side of that red truck this time, which is a slight time save optimization. Definitely smoother driving through there. And a decent corner cut there puts us at the load zone at 135. Yeah, we're now like 4 seconds faster than the last run, or like 3.5 seconds faster than the last run, just on like driving on the first half alone. It may not seem like a lot, but just effective straight lines saves time. Some more good driving through here. This is an unfortunate rate spawn because I'm forced to go to its left side to make it boost, and then I board it, which normally I would like to instantly board it, but you would die if you did with that spawn, and I recognize that. So I lost a little bit with that rate. quickly take out the Phantom, quickly take out this Wraith, and now I boost this door. So yeah, now here's where we'll start to get a glimpse of the knowledge of Scarab deload. So I know that this run is really fast. I've done everything basically perfectly, but I'm gonna choose to lose time anyway. You're gonna see me wait here at the top of the stairs. I just wait. The reason I'll explain why I wait in a minute, but it's to prevent the Scarab from disappearing. Once I've waited long enough, I can then walk forward. And during this section I missed that jump, but it doesn't actually lose any time. Similar grenade jump. I use the audio to time my grenade jump, so I wait for the certain language cue that he says, watch out for the Scarab, get your heads down, or something like that, and I throw between those two lines of dialogue. I stand at the front of the Scarab. Now let's see, how do I take out the enemies here? Probably more of the same. I have rockets and shotgun. I just full on miss a rocket. I bait a melee, quick back smack. Yeah, that was a much more effective clear, that's for sure. So now we're at 411. Some time save on the driving, some time save on the enemy clear. And now we are going to move into a new challenger approaches with a new run. That run that is the 411 would stand for another 200 days. The next run that we will see will come from A Filthy Casual. It was set in August of 2018. Let's take a look at what he does. This looks like it was set during a full game run? No, he was just using his full game splits. He's listening to music too. You hear him jamming. I'm gonna turn this down so I don't get copyrighted. I can't even tell what it is. The quality of this isn't very good because this is ripped from a live stream. But AFC was a pretty committed legendary runner in the early days of the Halo revival. In the days so there was a period where Halo speedrunning was very active between 2004 and 2007. And then it kind of died off a little bit. And then it came back in 2011 for a little bit. And then it died off again. And then it came back again in 2014 with Games Done Quick. After Games Done Quick, we had the biggest revival we'd ever had, where the community exploded because of the viewership we were getting from like GDQ runs and stuff. And AFC is one of the people who came into the scene during that era. So here he is grinding Halo 2 Legendary Metropolis. Oh, I didn't manage to start the timer on this one, but he has his own timer, so that's fine, I guess. Okay, some pretty good driving here. Puts him at the load. Okay, so he does lose some time here. He's like, he fumbles quite a bit here. He's like 4 seconds behind my run at the load there. How does he save this time? I'm not sure. I really don't know. This driving's pretty good. Good Wraith board. Does the early grenade on it. He gets some health from the Marines here on this Wraith. Shoots it 4 times, boosts 2 at the Phantom. 1, 2, 3, 4. So he took 9 total shots. So he's gonna have to wait. He definitely doesn't make early cycle. So I guess after this run I'll explain why we wait at the top of the stairs before we move in to the next run we have. Yeah, so he's also waiting here at the top of the stairs. He waited, I think, a little bit less than I did. He must get a really good ending fight. Standing at the front again. I guess I did full on miss a rocket when I did it. He early throws a grenade, searches out the Ultra. Okay, yeah, that was a much better clear than I got. That's where he saved the time. So he drove slower but cleared better, which gave him a 1-second improvement over my run. So the previous record was a 4:11, AFC just got a 4:10. Alright, let's switch gears a little bit here, and let me boot up the game myself and show you guys why we are waiting at the top of the stairs, so that has a little bit more context. So let me move this over here. Switch scenes. This up for a second. All right. So I'm gonna play through live right now. We're gonna play our own Metropolis here. This is the year. Oh. What? It says I need to plug in. I have a controller plugged in. Why won't... What? It won't let me get rid of this dialogue. Alright, well I guess I have to dashboard. That's weird. Not sure why that happened. Alright, we'll just reboot the game. We get to watch the great intro anyway. So let's dive into an explanation of what is early cycle, what is Scarab deload. If you guys watch a lot of Metropolis speedruns, you've heard speedrunners talk about early cycle. We'll go into exactly what that means right now. Should I turn on? Nah, I don't need any skulls. I'll play on easy just to demonstrate what we're gonna do, because I want to be able to like walk around and not get shot at. Go on a nice leisurely stroll.
Begrüßung.
Alright. I'm kind of annoyed that I have to replay through this, because I already had... My Xbox was set up at this moment. I already had it here, ready to explain Scarab deload. Now I gotta get back. Fortunately, it's a quick drive. Okay. Oh, we're getting double audio. Let me fix that. Where'd it go? Okay, so Scarab deload happens because there are 2 Scarabs on this level, but they're actually the same Scarab in the scripts. So whenever I get to the top of this tunnel here, you'll notice a Scarab will spawn in, right? So I'm going to start a timer as soon as that happens. Well, it spawns in, but it doesn't move immediately. If I move a little bit further, it'll start moving. So as soon as it starts moving, if you start a timer, you'll see it's starting to do its animations now, right? So in the time it takes for its first set of cycles here, what it's gonna do is it's gonna walk along the courtyard, it's going to walk over the buildings, and then it's gonna disappear out here out of the map. And that takes about a minute for it to do. So you'll see it'll walk over. I almost got it. Did I make this grenade jump? So it'll walk over here, it'll walk out of bounds. It'll turn the corner. It'll walk a little bit more forward. And then after a minute and 20, it'll go poof. So it takes about a minute and 20 for it to completely disappear, right? So, funny enough, there's actually a second Scarab that spawns in, but all of the same stuff that applies to the first Scarab applies to the second Scarab. Oh, I didn't start the timer. Let me start the timer here. So if I start the timer as I come through here, and then I drive through here, so just keep in mind that the Scarab is walking over the map right now this whole time. Even when I leave it behind, it's still walking. Oops. Okay, well I'm gonna have to double revert, aren't I? I want to get this lined up properly. Halo 2 has a cool feature. If you get a checkpoint you don't like, you can die 5 times and then revert 2 checkpoints. So that's what I'm gonna do here. I'm gonna get it lined up. Okay, we do it again. So if you're doing speedruns and you quickly drive through this area, and you quickly take out these 2 wraiths,
In dem Gebäude sind ein paar Marines eingeschlossen, Schiff. Konzentriert euch auf die Wraiths. Die sind am gefährlichsten.
I'm on easy, so this will be a little bit faster than we've been witnessing on Legendary. The Wraith takes fewer bullets. So now I've done all of this, and now since it's only been about a minute, that other Scarab hasn't disappeared yet, right? If I manage to make it to the top of these stairs, and that other Scarab hasn't disappeared yet, it will want to delete the second Scarab, but it'll also want to delete the first Scarab, and so that's when you get the glitch called Scarab deload. So there's a 10-second window where it's still... That Scarab just got teleported and became this Scarab, and they're still the same Scarab. That one never had a time to delete properly, and now this one exists on the map. You can tell it's a little bit glitchy already because it didn't blow up the tank here. I didn't mean to fall down, but it's fine. Normally the Scarab would blow up the tank, but because it like got teleported wrong, it didn't. So then the Scarab walks over the map. I won't do the board because I missed it, but will you disappear right here or later? Let's see. And now it'll walk into the water. Need to lay this checkpoint. So now when I'm supposed to be boarding and fighting the Scarab down here, it just went poof. You saw it? For only a second. Let me get a better view of it. Let me do it better this time. And now you might think that's a good thing that the Scarab went poof, but it's a problem because the pilots never had a chance to spawn. Defeating the Scarab isn't what defeats the level. You have to kill the pilots on the Scarab. So if you make the Scarab disappear, you don't beat the level early, you just soft lock the level. So it's a complete soft lock when it happens. You cannot beat the level once the Scarab has disappeared.
Sir, Corporal Perez, our Company A, Kommandostand ist da drüben. Der Lieutenant wurde beim Absprung getroffen.
The way to prevent the Scarab deload would be to wait at these stairs long enough that that Scarab has time to disappear. There's another way if you go extra fast though. We'll get there soon. Let's see. Did I do this right? I hope I waited long enough there. Okay, I think I did. Alright, so I get on the Scarab early this time. We wait. And it disappears. So the pilots never have time to spawn, so you can't beat the level. You're just completely stuck here. Even if I were to manage to like drop off here and survive, we can watch it disappear. Let's try this better. Hold on. We'll get there. And the level won't end. We're stuck. So that's why we wait at the top of the stairs. And now we can continue back on our history lesson. Bring this back over here. And we will... So remember we just left off and the last record was 4 minutes and 10 seconds by AFC. That was set in... Get rid of that, bring my playlist back, okay, and reset the timer. So yeah, that was set in 2018. Now let's go on to the next run. Get desktop audio back. So the next run I have for you guys comes from a familiar name, Criffin. This time we have a video associated with it. So, unfortunately for AFC, there's a little bit of an ego thing in speedrunning, and during this time, the leaderboard is almost exclusively populated by MisterMonopoli and Criffin. So anytime a new name pops up on the leaderboard for first place, they kind of had a target on their head, and either me or Criffin immediately went to beat their runs. AFC's run would unfortunately only stand for 2 days, and 2 days later, in August 25th, 2018, Griffin would post a run that is faster. So let's take a look at the 409. Oh, let me pause it and resize it again. That's close enough. Hold on. Why is that white bar there? Whatever. It can stay. So Griffin plays on Japanese text. And we get the timer going. The Japanese text on the console doesn't save any time. Griffin just does it because he thinks it looks cool. But it does look cool, so he's right. This run is mostly going to look exactly the same as the other run, just 1 second faster. So the previous records have been 4:14, 4:11, 4:10, 4:09. So we're getting to kind of the hyper-optimized stage of Metropolis. As you can tell, this level has been straightforward the entire time. So now they're really getting optimized. The seconds are hard to come by. We're not really squeaking much more time out. Japanese text and audio. See if there's anything noteworthy going on in this run. I imagine it's going to look exactly the same. Some very smooth driving there. Yeah, so AFC got hung up here and was a few seconds slower. Griffin didn't get hung up at all, zooming on through. I guess that means that the ending is going to go slightly worse here for Griffin. Yeah, very, very smooth driving so far in the first 2 minutes of the level. It's a kind of bad wraith spawn. It's medium. It could be worse, it could be better. The wraith positioning there is random. Sometimes it'll be more left or right, and you have to change your approach depending on which spawn you get. He gets no help from the Marines here, which doesn't really matter because he's going to be waiting at the top of the stairs anyway. But yeah, absolutely no backup. Makes this section way harder. You see he almost dies compared to the other runs that didn't have to shoot that wraith nearly as much. He gets out a little far away from the door, takes out his Marine for a free grenade, picks up a rocket launcher. So getting up further from the door didn't matter because again, he knows he has to wait. Oh no, he didn't wait, he just went. So I guess he realized he'd lost just enough time, so he just went for it. By parking further away, he wasted just enough time to get the correct cycle here and not let the Scarab disappear. You can tell by the gameplay that he wanted to beat this guy. I mean, Griffin's gameplay has always been fast. He wants to go fast. He's one of the best Halo 2 runners of all time. He's got a bunch of very impressive runs. And you can tell when he plays, he does want to beat people. That's one of the defining characteristics of a good speedrunner, is they want to be the best. Let's see how he chooses to take out the enemies here. Alright, pre-fire grenade. Rocket, rocket.
あのエリートは
Back
相
smack.
当手強いわよ。
Misses a shotgun shot, so he did get a slightly worse clear, but the better driving made up for it, and that became record. Alright, so that record would then stand for... how long would this record stand? That record would then stand for another 250 days until 2019, and it would be beaten by 1 second in 2019. Let's take a look at the next run here. Get you resized. Alright, and we've got another run. So this run comes from a band user named Rana. This run is a legitimate world record, though. I imagine it's going to be exactly the same, except a slightly better fight. I think that's where the second is going to come from. Because the Griffin's driving was perfect, but his end fight was bad. So this one's probably going to have better driving, but... or maybe medium on both. We'll see. 408 coming in May of 2019. Yeah, with a huge watermark in the middle of the screen. Because that's what the viewers want, right? Everybody wants a huge watermark right in the middle of the screen. This is classic. Loses some timing. That wasn't great driving there. Takes a bad line. Chooses to go to the right of that car, which can save time, and he does save a little bit there. It's a little bit of a weird path, because you lose some momentum on the slope, but it worked out there. Not the smoothest driving through here. That was good. That was medium. And that was good. Good through that section. So he's about 1 second behind Griffin at this point. Maybe like 2. All of this is standard driving. Standard Wraith clear. Doesn't get helped by the Marines, but it doesn't matter, because he's going to have to wait at the top of the stairs. I guess he doesn't wait because his Wraith clear was just so slow. Because he got 0 help from the Marines, he didn't have to wait on the top of the stairs. The total time that once you exit the tunnels to the top of those stairs is when it matters, like we looked at when I explained Scarab deload. So you can get a slow Wraith clear and then still get like the edge of slow cycle because you would have had to wait anyway. So getting a very slow Wraith clear doesn't actually lose you a lot of time, at least not with these current strats that we're seeing. We will see why it can save time in a minute though. So neither Griffin or Rana waited. That run uses a super bounce. Yeah, I didn't even talk about that. Let's go back and look at the super bounce. The super bounce is a strat that I copied the super bounce strat from the original Halo 2 done segmented run back when I did my first GDQ run. and I did it simply because I thought it was cool. It does not save any time. It doesn't like help with consistency. It's actually less consistent, but man, does it look fun. The only reason to do this strat is fun. It doesn't save anything. It doesn't lose anything. It's just fun. We'll get to fast cycle next, Sergeant Raider. Don't worry. We haven't seen runs that do fast cycle. All these runners are slow. We haven't figured out how to go fast yet. The year's 2019. Nobody has unlocked speed yet. Throws a plasma, gets a stick, and gets a much better clear. So slower driving, but better clear, gives a 1 second improvement again, and we are at 4:08 is now the record. So the record has gone 4:14, 4:11, 4:10, 4:09, 4:08, and now we are to the next record here. Let me resize this. Restart this. And this next record comes 4 seconds faster in the year 2022. 3 years later, 2.5 years later, we will see the biggest improvement this level has seen is a one single chunk improvement since 2011. This will be the largest improvement this level has seen since 2011. So a slight time lost there by getting bonked by a ghost, but that's very minimal. But straight line driving here is looking pretty good. Done on Valentine's Day, yeah. Clearly I had a hot date in 2022. Hot date with speed. So far, so good. Everything here is just standard fast driving. A little bit of time lost there. Could be smoother. That was really smooth. And we're maybe a couple seconds behind perfect driving. Like two seconds behind what would be ideal. This middle driving has gone pretty good. Actually, this middle driving has gone basically perfect, and it has to, because now we're going to learn about early cycle. So we talked about slow cycle, and for slow cycle we had to wait longer than 1 minute 20 to get to the top of those stairs, right? Well, I just did a kind of advanced strategy there to have my Warthog blow up next to the Wraith to get a faster clear. I get fortunate help here by my Marines that they're going to come in and start shooting this Wraith. Combined with perfect driving and good luck from the Marine help, I get a very fast Wraith clear here. And now, instead of having to wait until 1 minute 20 at the top of the stairs, I can beat the cycle and go at 1 minute 12. So I throw a grenade here to make it up the stairs faster. And so there's an 8-second window. If you're in that window, the Scarab will disappear. But if you go faster than that window, the Scarab will actually stay a little bit longer. So now, I didn't wait at the top of the stairs at all. I zoomed up the stairs, and now we are one cycle faster than all of the previous runs. This is the first run to ever get early cycle on the original game. It has never been done before this run. That's the fastest we've ever made it up the stairs. So because I knew I'm on an incredibly fast run here with early cycle, I don't take the end fight as risky as possible. All of the other runs that we've seen before this, they full risk the end fight, because a lot of these runs you don't do them like first try and get world record. You expect to die a few times and try again. But getting early cycle was such a difficult task. I had to play safe. I waited for the enemies to spawn, and then I took them out. I should have died there, but I waited a little bit extra with the head glitch here. So we can look at the head glitch that oh, it already jumped to the next run. No! Well, okay, let's go back. Hold on. Let's look at what I did there in the... Don't jump to the next run. Shrink back. Go back. So if you look during this section, I'm doing what's called a head glitch. I'm hiding my head inside the wall, and I'm watching my radar for the enemies to spawn. As soon as the enemies spawn, I sneak past them so they don't see me, and then I take out the enemies here at the end. So it loses a little bit of time to do that, but it was a lot safer, and I wanted to complete this run. So this run completes at 4 minutes and 4, and is the first run to ever get early cycle. And this run would then stand as world record for 550 days, until the young MCC runner comes along and decides he wants to take some classic records. The next run we will see comes from let's see, Zoo. We have a 402 by Zoo posted in 2023. Is that August? August 2023, so about a year and a half later. Let's watch Zoo's run. I guess let me restart the timer here. Wait, why did it just change speed? That's not the button I wanted. Hold on. Accidentally, I don't know what my speed normal. Okay, whatever. Timer's a little bit off, but that's fine. I'm not messing with it. So Zoo sets this record and beats my run by 2 seconds. Let's see if Zoo does anything fancy. I think this run is going to be exactly the same as mine, but a faster ending. I think that's what we're going to see. So far, the driving is looking pristine. So at this time, when Zeus set this world record, he's the Master Chief Collection world record holder, and he is the classic world record holder for Halo 2. Zoo has come out and dominated Halo 2. He's made it faster than it's ever been. He's put all of the previous runners to shame. Nobody is close to Zoo's skill level at this point. He is basically just taking all of the records. He dominated MCC and said, let's do classic next. Oh, you guys don't really have much sound. Turn it up a little. So, first bit of driving is very good. That was basically, not quite flawless, but close. Basically perfect. And now here through the middle section, remember, you have to get perfect driving and you have to get lucky by the Marines. So you'll see like he's cutting these corners, he's whipping around, like sliding through that waterfall section smoothly is harder than he makes it look there.
In dem Gebäude sind ein paar Marines eingeschlossen, Schiff. Konzentriert euch auf die Wraiths. Die sind am gefährlichsten.
He gets a quick wraith board. That we talked about the wraith can be in random spots. That's a very good wraith position. And here he should be getting marine help. I would imagine, yeah. The marines are on their way. The marines don't always help you. Sometimes they don't help at all. Sometimes they help a ton. And so for this IL in particular, you just have to pray that they help you, and there's nothing you can really do to like save it. He didn't even realize he got such a fast clear there. He like tried to shoot one extra shot but realized he didn't have to. So he got really helped out by the marines there. And now he is now the second runner to ever get early cycle. This is the second run to do it. Now let's see how the ending goes. He's delaying a checkpoint because checkpoints cause lag. That's funny. I didn't even realize he did that. I'm pretty sure that's why he was delaying it. And you notice he does not head glitch here. He goes for the traditional very fast ending. 2 rockets, shoot the shotgun, take out the final elite. And that's the end. And that is a 402 by Zoo. And this record would stand for 354 days until it was beaten almost a year later. And now this brings us to the last record we have in our Metropolis Legendary record history. Let's scale this one up. Click that off. And now we move to about a year later in August 2024. We're looking at the very last record we have. So now this is going to be a combination of all of the strats we've seen. So one thing you might notice at the very start is I grabbed the rockets from my Marine. I grabbed them early so that I don't lose time grabbing them later. Because to make early cycle, you have to do that middle section perfect, and picking up the Marines' rockets in the middle loses a little bit of time compared to picking them up at the start where I don't have to care about early cycle. So I already have rockets in my pocket compared to all of the other runners who waited to get them a little bit later. So that's one small change that we see. Otherwise, we're going to have the exact same driving here. So far pretty good driving through here. Slight stuck on that first bit, but otherwise smooth. Oh, I get spun out here. Yeah, there's definitely time to save there. Not quite perfect driving on the first part. I'd say you could save still about 2 seconds there on the first half if you got perfect driving. But then the second half is going to be quite good. I have to make up for it. I think the best driving we saw came from Griffin and AFC. They both had really, really good driving on the first half. Sub 4 is certainly possible on this run.
In dem
This run still is not quite perfect.
Konzentriert euch auf die Race. Die sind am gefährlichsten.
I get a really good Wraith clear here because my Warthog blows up and I only have to do a few melees. My Marine is already helping me, which is nice. 1, 2, 3, 4, and boost. I think I take it out in 6. Is that right? 5, 6. Yeah, six shots on the Wraith is insane. That's the fewest shots we've seen. Every other runner has taken between 7 and 10. I just did it in 6. So that's the quickest Wraith section that we've seen of all of the runs. I do a quick grenade boost up the ramp, and that is our 3rd run to hit early cycle that we've seen. And I saved quite a bit of time on that Wraith section. The Marines helped me out so much. That's really luck-based, unfortunately, whether or not they help. You can't really do anything to help with it, but 6 shots is insane. And I think we'll see a different ending strategy here too. I'm pretty sure I do a different ending. So all of the previous runs, they're shooting rockets and throwing grenades to get near the end fight. I do a melee cancel, quick back smack, quick back smack, quick back smack.
Diese Piloten sind auch nicht von Pappe.
And that is a 401. It's actually like a 401 in a couple frames. It's very close to a 400, but not quite. But that is the last run we have. So it's clearly possible that a sub 4 is there. Like, you saw the main bit of time loss that I had during that run was on the first half of the driving. I got hung up in the tunnels a little bit. But the second half was basically perfect. But if you combine everything we've seen, if you take the crazy good driving from the Griffin and AFC era, and you take the crazy good ending from the early cycle era, 359 is certainly in the cards. It could even go a little bit lower than that. But we saw the record fall from 527 with Cody Miller all the way back in 2005, all the way down to 401 in today's current runs. Well, I think that will wrap up our history lesson here. Do we have any questions? Yes, if you want to get world record now, early cycle is a necessity. Early cycle saves at least 8 seconds. Depending on how early you make early cycle, you could save more. But early cycle saves 8 seconds, so it's no longer possible to get world record without it. Oh, another thing I wanted to talk about. Some future strats that some of you guys may be asking about was, what about Phantom Launch? Alright, well, let's talk about Phantom Launch. So, I have some clips here. Let's find the clips here. Add... Let me add these to a playlist real quick. Yeah,
well, I guess we could say it nice and early.
Alright, we didn't do Phantom Bump. Here's the reason why. It's not possible. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Alright, hold on. We've almost got it. I clicked the wrong one. Okay, so let's take a look at the easy record just for a moment here. I plan to maybe do an easy record video someday, but this is what the easy record does. So the easy record is quite a bit different. Instead of driving all the way across the bridge, I get out in the middle, grenade jump onto this light, and I wait. What could possibly be going on? So this does save time. But you have to steal a ghost, and stealing the ghost makes it where I could steal the Warthog a little bit later, but on Legendary, getting through the tunnels with the ghost is not really feasible. If you've seen clips on Master Chief Collection where they continue to launch all the way through these tunnels, that slide's not possible on this version of the game. The original version of the game does not have those huge slides like Master Chief Collection does, but you can still get an insane launch here. This is the current record on easy. And the reason that it's not in Legendary is because when the Phantom hits you, it splatters you, and it would just immediately kill you. Even if it didn't immediately kill you, you have to get this vehicle, and the ghost going through the tunnels and going through the Wraith section, it doesn't really work nearly as well on Legendary. So you would have to then use this ghost to then steal a Warthog and then do the Warthog. And none of that makes it really worth it. But there is a chance that it could work its way in. Let me show you how it can work on Legendary. Let's click over to a Legendary video now. So this is a video by Nimbus, who we saw find the ghosting strategies back on Cairo Station in our video. This is the same person now. He's perfecting the Phantom launch on Metropolis. The version that you just saw is what I came up with, but this is what Nimbus came up with here. So this is on Legendary. I just told you that the Phantom splatters you, but there's actually a trick to not get splattered. If instead of letting the Phantom hit you, if you sword lunge at it like that, you can then get knocked backwards, and you actually can do this on Classic. It does work. Unfortunately, you don't start with a sword on this level. The only way to have a sword would be to play through Outskirts and carry over a sword. So whenever you finish the mission Outskirts, you can carry that sword into Metropolis. Or you could play at the start of Metropolis, and you could flip over one of these ghosts. If you slammed the Warthog into one of these ghosts, you could flip him over, get an Ultra Elite who only spawns 10% of the time, steal his sword, and then sword fly at the Phantom. And it would technically save time. It is a strat that could be done in the future, but good luck to anybody who tries it, because it's not happening, man. I don't know. I'd love to eat my words. I'd love to see somebody do it, but it saves such little time, and it's so hard. I don't see it being done anytime in the near future. But overall, it saves less than 10 seconds to do. But as we just saw, 10 seconds on a level like this is pretty huge, considering like the last 15 world records have come in mostly 1 second increments. So if you could do this trick and save about 10 seconds, you would get the world record. You would have to then get early cycle and do all of the other crazy stuff we talked about. But that is something that could be done to save some more time. That could be the future of this level. The reason that you can't start with the sword for individual level attempts, though, is we don't allow it. You can't have weapon carryover from Outskirts into Metropolis, because every individual level record is treated as its own contained thing. You can't carry over from the previous level. The rules just simply don't allow it. So you would have to get a sword from the start of the level if you wanted to set the Metropolis record. It could happen, though. I don't know. Maybe we'll see. I think that's how we'll end the video, though, with a look towards the future, and hopefully I'll eat my words. Come back in 2038 and show me that dang Phantom bump. I think that's the end of our Metropolis Legendary presentation. Thank you for watching.